Hello, this is Mr. Holmes Williams, your lovely web design teacher, and today we are going to be discussing the solution to the problem that we explained earlier, which is the enter a word sentence button. Okay, this button will will ask you to input a sentence or a word, and then you will have a deconstruction of that sentence or word within the following categories. So it will tell you the number of characters in that word or sentence, number of spaces, number of non-space characters, number of words, number of vowels, and the number of consonants. Okay. Now, I've already done a little bit of the work for you when it comes to writing this stuff down. So let's go ahead and get started. As you already can see, I already have a button that I've already assigned in my HTML. And so have I also assigned a couple of P elements, or maybe 6, that have already kind of preloaded all of the categories here. Okay, this is slightly different than what I showed you before, where they were all hidden until you entered your sentence, but I feel like this is a little bit more clear since it does give a little less work to the JavaScript side and gives you more agency on the HTML side. So let's go ahead and jump right into this, okay? So if I go over here to my index.html where I have all of my stuff set up, you can see I'm doing something very similarly to what we've been doing before. First off, I have a button. And I've given the button a specific ID. In this case, the button ID is called sentence deconstruct. Okay, a mouthful, but don't worry, we're going to shorten that in a little bit in our JavaScript. And it simply asks you to enter a word or a sentence. Other than that, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 P elements, each of them representing the statements that I had before. Okay, that you saw in my HTML, and with the span tag or the span element. Now, remember that the span element, it's just like any other container tag. It actually doesn't do anything. But what this does is it holds in the IDs of each of the values we're about to get from our entered word or sentence. And thus, we have, as you can see here, the placeholder here for each of these, and then we're just going to input the number of characters, number of spaces, number of words, etc., right here between the colon and the period. Okay, so it just makes it easier. So go ahead, copy that, pause the video, all that good stuff. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Let's go ahead and move right along to the JavaScript. So if you notice right here, I have put in a little comma right here calling this sentence deconstruction because this is the part of the code that we are about to work on, okay? So let's get this shindig started. First off, we're going to go ahead and do what we always have done, which is to, give the variable, give the button a variable, okay? So we're going to do var, and we're going to do sent decon, okay, which is a shortened version of sentence deconstruction, okay? And then we're going to make this equal to document dot get element by ID. We've done this before, you all. So remember, we gave the button an ID of sentence deconstruction, and I hope I spelled deconstruction correctly. Okay. Okay, so this is going to basically say every time we use the variable sent decon, we are actually using or calling the button that we've given the element or the ID of sentence deconstruction. Okay, we've done this plenty of time, you all. I hope you all are getting used to this. Okay, and just like times before, we're also going to attribute this variable to the dot on click event. So sent decon dot on click, which simply means that when we click on this button, it will do the following, and this will equal to the following function, which I'm going to call the same thing, sentence deconstruct. Okay, something of the matter. And please, y'all, do not forget, whenever you create a function, you put the parentheses by it, or it's not a function. Okay, it's not a function if it doesn't have parentheses. Even if you don't have anything in the parentheses, that is how you tell a function from a non-function. So make sure you remember that. And then, of course, with every other function we've done so far, we are going to put up our curly brackets as well. So this is the start of a wonderful piece of code we're about to do. Okay, so let's do the easy stuff. Actually, all this is going to be pretty easy, but we're going to do the easy stuff first. Okay, so I've not taught you about the length property slash a method inside of JavaScript yet, but it's actually pretty darn easy, okay? So first, let's go ahead and do our first variable, which is going to be, I'm going to call it sent input. You can name this anything you want. I mean, I said sent input. That's just how I looked at it because I don't know if they're going to send a word or a sentence, so I just said sent input. This is going to be the whatever input they've sent us through the prompt function. We're going to do that. So sent input equals prompt, and then of course we've done this a couple times before. Enter a word or sentence to be deconstructed. Okay. So what this will do is, as soon as you click on the sent decon button, aka the button that we have on our HTML, it will then run this first variable called sent input, and this will prompt the user to put in a word or a sentence, okay? And if we run this really quickly, just to check to make sure this works, we're going to refresh our page in our HTML, and when we click this, absolutely nothing happens. So what is happening right now? I did the wrong ID. So I actually put this down as sentence deconstruct, not sentence deconstruction. So be careful with that, you guys. See, got some live debugging. So you see up here, I did the element by ID as sentence deconstruction, but really I just had it as sentence deconstruct, which is why the button wasn't working, because I got the wrong ID, okay? So now let me try this again. I'm gonna refresh my page, and now it works. So a little bit of, a little bit of debugging. There you go. So now it works. When we enter something, let's say hello, y'all, nothing happens because we haven't done anything yet. But that's how the prompt works, as we've seen in the past, okay? So now that we know that we're going to be getting in some type of word or input, let's do a little bit of formatting here. So I'm going to do sent input equals sent input dot to lowercase. It's a function, that's why we have those parentheses there, dot trim. Now, simply put, what this does is, whatever you send in to this prompt, so whatever word, letter, characters, etc. you put in here, what it's going to do to it is going to change all the letters to lowercase. That makes it easier for us to, get through everything. And it will also trim it. What trim does is it takes out any spaces before the first letter and after the first letter. So all we are getting truly is the letters and the spaces that start and end with a letter. Okay, that's all it does. You know how you trim the fat of a piece of beef, you trim off the fat on the edges. That's what you're doing. You're trimming out the spaces or the fat off the edges of whatever they put in. So they could put in space, 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 hello, space, 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 but it's just gonna take away those spaces on the ends, okay? And again, to a lowercase is pretty self-explanatory, okay? So now that we've done that, now that we've kind of shaped and formatted whatever they've inputted, now we are able to, do some more stuff. So now let's do our first thing. We are going to have a variable called, I forget what I called it. Oh, num of, camel case, num of char, okay? And this is just number of characters, okay? So I'm just gonna make sure I keep that there, okay? Equals, and I'm just gonna do sent input dot length. That's all we need. That's all we need, okay? So just to show you what happens here, okay? When I go up here and I put in a word, let me refresh the page really quick. I put in a word, I'm gonna put in hello. Hello is Hello, press OK, and nothing happens. Oh, because I haven't done anything yet, y'all. I'm out of it this morning, y'all. I'm so sorry. We're gonna go ahead back. I have not actually attributed anything to this yet, but we will in a few minutes, okay? So let's go ahead. All right. So basically what happens is when you put in your sent input, it's just going to take the length of that sent input, okay? A length is just gonna count every single character inside of that whatever, sentence or word, okay? So in this case, I put in hello, Hello, cool, okay? If I did hello world with a space in between it, it would be Hello space, WORLD. 11 characters. So characters does include spaces as long as the spaces aren't on the outskirts of the word. So we trimmed the fact, okay? So if we do end up putting any type of extra spacing before the first word or after the last word, then it will trim those, but any spaces in between those will still get counted as a character. And this also, of course, includes any punctuation that you include, okay? So that's number of character. Now let's do number of spaces. So num of space. Now I have to remember how I did this. I did number of spaces or number of spaces. Yeah, number of space. Beautiful. Number of space. I'm trying to match it up, make sure that I got this, okay? All right, so this is going to be slightly different. This is introducing something a little bit newer, but hopefully you'll understand it after I explain it. So number of space, we're going to do the same thing, sent, input, because remember, all these are going to be some type of delineation or some type of, breaking down of the sent input of whatever the person put into the input, okay? That's all we're doing right now, okay? And we're going to do dot, and we're going to do match. Now, match is a new one that we have not learned yet, but you will learn about it right now. So I'm going to put in match, and what this does is, this function does is, whatever we put inside these parentheses in a certain formatting, so the formatting does matter here, so make sure you put it in exactly as I put it in, okay? What is going to happen is it's going to go through, it's almost like a loop, basically. It's a loop going through every single character inside of whatever they sent in as their input. Okay, and it is going to see if any of the characters match it, and if it does, it's going to, well, count it, okay, when we put in the last thing. So I'm going to go ahead and end it dot length. So it's going to basically, what this all does is it's going to find all the matches to whatever we put inside the parentheses here, and then it's going to count the length of them. So just like up here, we just did send input dot length, and it's just going to count the length of whatever they put in. This is only going to count the length of whatever matches what's inside of our parentheses. So in this case, the way you do this is you do // // That's the first thing you do. Now, this may look like a comment, but you're going to put stuff in between the // okay? In this case, we want to count the number of spaces, okay? So the way that you count a space is going to be backslash. So you see we did // and then in between the // we do backslash, okay? S, okay? So /s does mean space. So what we're doing here is that we're trying to count the number of spaces inside of our input, okay? So this is going to find all the spaces there that are not on, again, the last space outside of the last word or the first space before the beginning word, okay? And then outside of the last // we're gonna put in a G. Simply know that the G, what it does is, this will find all instances of single spaces and it will count them, okay? So if you put 3 spaces together, okay, side by side, hello, space, 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 world, it will count each individual one of those spaces as a space and then give you back a length of 3. Hopefully that makes sense. We'll look at that in a bit, okay? So that's number of spaces, cool. Now we're going to do number of non-space characters, okay? So we're gonna do num of non-space. And this is just basically saying we're going to, take number of characters, because number of characters will always be bigger than the number of spaces. That's just inevitable. Unless you have a statement that is just all, just all spaces, then it will always be a positive number, okay? So num of characters minus num of space, okay? Now the reason why I don't say number of letters is because remember that characters can include not only spaces and letters, but also punctuation, so obviously your quotation marks, periods, exclamation points, question marks. So we can't really say whether or not this is gonna be just letters, because if you put in a period or you put in something other than a letter and a space, then this just covers us, okay? There is a way you can only get letters, but we're not doing all that, okay? Awesome. So we have that. So the next thing we're going to do, let me go back to my HTML, just to remember my script. Number of words. Okay, number of words. Number of words is going to look very similar to the number of spaces, but with a twist, okay? So we're going to do num of words, and I think I did words. So I'm just looking right here of the ID that I gave them. So num of words. So I did put an S at the end of that. So I just want to make sure I keep that up. Num of words equals, and again, this is all going to be a delineation of whatever they put in, your sent input. So sent input dot, and instead of match, we're going to do split. Come in. I'm giving a tutorial, so sorry. Yeah. You're fine. Just leave the door open. If you could tell them to. Thank you. So we have dot split, and what split does is it will, instead of matching to what we put inside of the parentheses as a function, so this is a parentheses, thank you. What this will do is it will split by those, okay? So we're actually gonna do the same thing we did here, so we're gonna do split dot length, okay? So again, the split does the splitting, so it will split by whatever we put inside of the parentheses, and then the dot length will then take the length of how many times we split it, okay? So we're gonna go here in between the split, and we're gonna do the same thing we did before. We're gonna do // okay? And then inside of here, we're actually gonna do something very similarly to what we did before. We're going to do \s, but instead of just a \s, we're gonna do \s plus. The difference between a \s plus and just a \s is that a \s is attributing to a single space. \s plus is attributing to more than one space, meaning that in my example where I said if you put in hello world and you put in hello space world, in this case it would only split that whole 3 spaces together as one, giving you 2 words, hello and world, okay? If we did \s and we did hello space world, then it would somehow delineate them by the 3 spaces instead of the whole 1 space together as a chunk, and it would have the wrong input. So you can try to see what it does. Actually, if you would like to, that would be really cool. But just know that the way that you do it for splitting words is going to be \s plus, and then again, we're gonna put a G here because again, we're trying to get all of them. So again, the G says that we're going to get every instance of this. If you leave out the G here, then it's only gonna get the first instance of a space, regardless of whether it's a single space, double space, triple space, quadruple space, etc. Okay? But we do wanna keep the G in there because the G is going to allow us to get every instance of that, okay? Awesome. So we're going to go on ahead and move down to the last 2 of our parameters, which is going to be, if I look back at my lovely HTML, the num of vowels and the num of const. Okay. Also, const, I do understand it's spelled correctly. I don't know why, I was looking at this as constant instead of consonant, but I'm going to keep it there because it's kind of endearing. So we're going to keep it like that. So let's go ahead to our JavaScript. So we're going to do num of words. I believe it, no, not num of words, Lord. Num of vowels. I believe that is what we're doing. Also, I do have a class, so I'll try to be as quickly as possible, y'all. I'm sorry. While y'all are waiting, just do a little bit of light studying. I'm recording a video right now, so it would be great if you don't talk. Awesome. Just study independently, quietly. And if you have to talk, just go outside the door. Awesome. So num of vowels, and then you have num of constants. So num of vowels equals, and then we also have num of const equals. So again, num of vowels is going to be a delineation of whatever they put in. So whether they put in a word or a sentence. So we have sent input, and we're going to do the same thing up here for your const as well, sent input. And you probably already guessed it, but we are going to match, so use the dot match method or function, however you want to say it. They both mean the same thing, essentially. Not math, match. There you go. Dot match. So we're going to do that, and then dot length, so we can get the length of those things. So we're going to do dot length of those things. And then, so here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do // // It does look like a comment, but it actually, we're going to put some stuff in it, which is going to make it not a comment. And we're going to do, for our vowels, we're going to do square brackets. And in the square brackets, we're going to put in A, E, I, O, U. So what it's going to do is, it's going to look at this. What these square brackets do, it makes an array. And an array is really easy for JavaScript to sift through. So it's going to look at each one of these letters, and it's going to try to match through each character of our statement that they input to either A, E, I, O, or U. Okay? And then, of course, just like we've done before, we're going to put in a G at the very end so that it does this every instance of A, E, I, O, or U, instead of just doing the first instance of that. And we're also going to add a new character, even though it's unnecessary, I. What an I does is that an I does this indiscriminately. So as you all hopefully know by now, JavaScript is case sensitive. So a capital A and a lowercase a look differently. Even though we all know that an A is an A, whether it's capitalized or not, they do represent two different character types. When you put in the I after the G, what this means is that it's going to look for any instance of an A, regardless of whether it's an uppercase A or a lowercase a, and the same for every one of the other vowels, okay? Now, of course, as you all know, the reason why I say this is kind of, unnecessary is because we did make everything lowercase, so there shouldn't be anything here that is uppercase after we've ran this piece of code right here. However, this is nice to know, okay? Now, this next one, we're just going to do it explicitly as well. So we're just going to do every other letter. So let's do our alphabet. B, C, D, E. We're not doing E. F, G, H, not I, J, K, L. Oh yes. Yeah, I'm doing some a quick video for my web design students, but I'm gonna get to them in a second.
Okay.
Oh, no problem.
I can come back if you really do another day. It's up to you.
Honestly, this is fine. This is fine. B, C, D. So right now what they're doing is they are studying. We are having a test today, so I'm giving them a little bit of time to study while I finish this up. So they're all on their spreadsheets and on their PowerPoints right now. B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, no O, P, Q, R, S, T, no U, V, W, X, Y, and then Z. And then we put in G to get all instances of this, and then I, okay? So this all should give us all the things we want, and then we're just going to do the following code. So document.get element by ID. Good morning, good morning. Num of char dot inner HTML equals num of char. Okay, so that is going to get us what we want. Okay, so we're just equaling the number that we've gotten from our statements up here to the inner HTML of the same ID type of num of char. And we're going to do that for every single one of these. We have 6 of them. So num of char, then we do num of space. Then we do num of non-space. And then we do num of words. And then we do num of vowels. And we do num of const. And then we're just going to change these, so equals num of space, num of non-space, then we do num of words, then we do num of const. And if all this works out, this should all work really well, or really badly. Hello, space, 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 world. All right, number space is 3. Number 4 is 2. Number vowels did not get that yet. So let's figure out why it didn't get vowels at all. But it did get consonants. A, E, I, O, U. I wonder why it didn't get that. Maybe I did the spelling wrong. Number 4 is... Oh, I don't think I did vowels at all. Actually, I didn't do vowels. Vowels, awesome, and the number of vowels. And now when we run this, that's what I forgot. Now, number, hello, there's a space, world. And now, wait, I didn't refresh it, did I? Hello, there's a space. Now we got it. So, there you go. Thank you all so very much.